Right, plenty going on in the business world, and for that we can get all the very latest from Jagdip. Hi, Jag.
Thank you very much, Ben. Three gambling firms owned by William Hill are to pay penalties of £19.2 million, that's $24 million, for failing to protect consumers. The company, a subsidiary of Gibraltar-based 888 Holdings, was found by the UK's Gambling Commission to have allowed customers to bet big sums of money without proper checks. It says it's seriously considered suspending the company's licence. Earlier, I spoke to Carolyn Downs, a gambling industry specialist at Lancaster University. She told me how gambling regulations often present challenges and opportunities for the industry.
Regulatory frameworks vary widely across the globe. In parts of the USA, for example, sports betting still remains illegal, although since 2018, the American market has liberalised, and that's provided a really big opportunity for gambling companies to expand into America, and for American firms such as Caesars Entertainment to try and sort of expand by building on the expertise of European organisations. We've got a very big market in gambling, but we've got gambling based in a lot of overseas countries. Online gambling, of course, can be based anywhere. So Malta, Cyprus, Gibraltar, as already earlier mentioned, are real centres where gambling companies are based, so they can take advantage of lower tax rates. Regulatory-wise, that makes gambling a little bit difficult to manage. So if you've got a company that's based in Gibraltar and they're selling gambling products in the USA or the UK, we've got three different regulatory frameworks potentially in play here.
A big fine for William Hill there. Now, the trade war between the US and China continues to rumble on. One of the beneficiaries could be Mexico. Increasingly, US multinationals are moving their operations closer to home. As a result, cities in northern Mexico are seeing a manufacturing boom. Our North America business correspondent, Samira Sain, reports from Monterrey in Mexico.
Dawn breaks over Monterrey and the city rumbles into life. Geopolitical tensions thousands of miles away are birthing a manufacturing revival here. Welcome to Mexico's industrial heartland. Early morning shift at one of the many factories. As more companies nearshore, that is, bring production closer to home, Mexico has seen a surge in manufacturing. These are the workers driving the state's economic boom. One company, Plasti Exports, recently built this 13,000 square meter facility to meet the meteoric demand for manufacturing. It makes things like shelving for refrigerators and lids for washing machines. This is one of 5 plants, and the company has plans for more.
Our company, in the last 5 years, we basically doubled our size. We expect in the next 2 years to double our size again.
So where are all these customers coming from?
China.
This state of Nuevo León has been one of Mexico's manufacturing hubs for decades. Now that it's become just so difficult to make goods in China to sell to America, there has been an explosion of new customers coming to Nuevo León.
Nearly 35,000 trucks go between the U.S. and Mexico each day. Last year, trade between the two countries was more than $660 billion, almost a 20% increase from the year before. And it's not just Mexican factories making goods for Chinese companies. Now 2 Chinese firms are building this massive industrial park here called Hofusan. But they don't like scrutiny. For weeks, we've been trying to speak with someone here.
Is there a way for us to get permission to film inside?
So my producer and I have decided to drop by to see what we can find out. It turns out, not much.
We won't be able to come in now.
No podemos entrar ahorita entonces.
No.
All the new business also means new jobs, a good problem to have, but the rapid expansion is testing the city's capacity.
So we have more or less 100,000 new immigrants that come to the metro area of Monterrey and Nuevo León each year, which is not an organic way to grow. And we are struggling somewhat to accommodate all these people.
This rapid expansion is changing the makeup of the state and the country's position in global economics. If this pace of growth continues, Mexico could even overtake China as the world's factory. Samira Hussein, BBC News, Monterrey, Mexico.
Mexico's manufacturing boom, one to keep an eye on there. Let's take a look at some other stories now. Cars that run on e-fuel in the EU are to be exempt from a ban on the sale of combustion engine vehicles after 2035. The European Commission made the announcement today following weeks of rows with Germany over the proposed law. E-fuels, which are made using captured CO2 emissions and low-carbon hydrogen, are not yet produced at scale, but are seen by some car makers as a route to prolonging the use of combustion engines. China's e-commerce company Alibaba is to separate into 6 independent companies to boost its share value. The immediate effect of the news was to lift the share price by 6.7% in New York. Each unit, reports Alibaba, will be led by a separate chief executive and will raise its own capital. In China, Beijing has asked Apple to strengthen its data security in the country over personal data concerns. This all comes as Apple CEO Tim Cook visits the country and tries to reaffirm the tech giant's investment into the Chinese market. Let's not forget the US is also considering banning Chinese firm TikTok over similar security concerns. And more than 130,000 civil servants in the UK have voted to go on strike next month over pay, pensions and job security. The PCS union said its members voted to take action on the 28th of April to increase the pressure on the government and were not backing down. The government said their demands for a 10% pay rise would be affordable. That's it for now. You're up to date on all your business news. See you soon. Hello there.